As night follows day, at some point, it's going to be necessary to have it. Just make sure that when that day comes, whoever is at the helm at the time has renewed this degree.
Did Nigel Clarke just save Jamaica from bankruptcy after Melissa?
We live in a climatic zone that makes us vulnerable to rainfall and earthquake, and we have to take responsibility for our vulnerability. Countries that achieve for their citizens take responsibility for their vulnerabilities. They don't leave themselves exposed or wait for other countries to come to their assistance. We became the first small country to launch a catastrophe bond, covered 3 hurricane season. We got support from the World Bank and from the governments of the UK, the US, and Germany, who paid 100% of the premiums for the first 3 years. And we'll always be grateful to them for that. And what we said to them in our pitch, when we went to pitch it to them, was that when it matures, we will, out of our own resources, continue to provide that protection for Jamaica. As night follows day, at some point, it's going to be necessary to have it. Just make sure that when that day comes, whoever is at the helm at the time has renewed this degree of protection. We're also creating a national disaster fund. We've already tabled the legislation in Parliament, and the idea is to capitalize that fund every year until it gets to about $10 billion. We intend to leave a legacy of national wealth, right? Where we have buffers put away for rainy days, like natural disasters and so on. And so in this budget, Madam Speaker, we are putting funds into that national disaster fund.
Jamaica was not ready for Melissa. Hurricane Melissa ripped through Jamaica and tore the country apart. Entire communities were flattened, farms got wiped out, businesses went underwater, and critical infrastructure collapsed. The storm was not just another passing system. It was one of the most destructive weather events Jamaica has seen in modern history, and the damage is still being counted in every parish. As the waters receded and the death toll became real, Jamaica woke up to a new reality: billions of dollars of loss in a single night. The government estimates the total cost of destruction at around $6 billion to $7 billion. That number is terrifying because Jamaica simply does not have that money in the national budget, and economic growth alone could not cover that kind of loss fast enough. This is where the real story begins. Because while Jamaica physically was not ready for Melissa financially, there was a backup plan quietly waiting in the background. And most Jamaicans have no idea how that safety net actually works. CCRIF steps in first. The first major financial relief Jamaica will receive after Melissa is coming from CCRIF, the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility. CCRIF is not like normal insurance. Jamaica doesn't make a claim and wait months to fight adjusters. CCRIF pays automatically once certain wind speeds, storm strength, or rainfall levels are triggered. And Melissa's strength easily crossed those parametric triggers. CCRIF has already confirmed Jamaica will receive $70.8 million. This is the largest payout CCRIF has ever made to Jamaica, ever. And this money is extremely important because it can come fast, giving the government immediate help while the country tries to stabilize. But here's the truth: $70 million is still tiny compared to $7 billion of damage. CCRIF is just the first check. A bigger, more high-stakes financial play is coming, one that came from a bold decision made years ago by Jamaica's former finance minister: the catastrophe bond that could save the budget. Unlike CCRIF, Jamaica also has a catastrophe bond. This is a financial instrument where global investors buy a bond, and if Jamaica gets destroyed by a huge hurricane, those investors lose their capital, and Jamaica gets the payout instead. It is disaster risk transferred straight to Wall Street. This cat bond was issued under the World Bank's IBRD Capital at Risk program. And now that Jamaica has been hit by Melissa, analysts estimate the payout could be between $50 million and $150 million, depending on final loss calculations. Combined with CCRIF, Jamaica could be getting close to $200 million in total emergency financial support. This might not rebuild the entire country, but it could be the difference between government collapse and government survival. And this financial shield did not just appear by accident. Nigel Clarke's role. Years ago, When Nigel Clarke was Minister of Finance, he pushed Jamaica into this new world of disaster financing. He didn't just talk about climate resilience. He moved the country away from depending on foreign aid after a hurricane and instead built systems where Jamaica could get money directly from the capital markets. He was the one who approved the strategy to work with the World Bank to structure Jamaica's Catastrophe bond. He authorized the policy, he negotiated it internationally, and he built the legal framework inside the Ministry of Finance to make it happen. If Nigel Clarke had not done that, Jamaica would not have a cat bond today. So yes, Nigel Clarke did not stop the winds, and he did not prevent the destruction. But he did something else. He strategically protected the national budget from total collapse when a Category 5 disaster finally arrived. Did Nigel Clarke actually save Jamaica? This is the question Jamaicans must answer for themselves. Some will say Nigel Clarke helped save Jamaica from bankruptcy after Melissa. Others will argue that the real goal should be investing in infrastructure, coastal defenses, and climate proofing, not just relying on insurance money after destruction hits. And both sides have a point. The real truth is this: insurance and catastrophe bonds are not solutions. They are just shock absorbers. They buy Jamaica time. They prevent the government from falling flat and becoming fully dependent on foreign donors. But they do not rebuild the country to be stronger than before. So the final answer is simple. Nigel Clarke didn't save Jamaica from Hurricane Melissa, but he did save Jamaica from total financial ruin. And now Jamaica stands at a crossroads. Will it use these payouts to rebuild stronger, or will the nation wait for the next storm to come and repeat this cycle again?
Thank you for that question, Felipe. Jamaica indeed exists in a climatic zone that's vulnerable to tropical cyclones, hurricanes, and excess rainfall. And what our experience has shown is that these have a fiscal impact, a severe fiscal impact. And as a result, Jamaica has developed a complete multi-layered strategy to increase the capacity of the government to respond fiscally to the challenges posed by natural disasters. And this multi-layered strategy is embedded in our national natural disaster risk financing policy, which itself draws upon principles of risk retention, risk transfer, and seeks to diversify the sources of funding in the event of a natural disaster. We don't want to put all of our eggs in a single basket. At its founding layer, the strategy has us making annual provisions in our national budget for frequently occurring low-impact events such as drought or excess rainfall. The next layer, we have a natural disaster fund, which we capitalized a few years ago and which we periodically top up to provide resources that are domestically located in Jamaica that we can draw on in the event of a natural disaster. The layer above that, we have a credit contingent claim with the Inter-American Development Bank that we can draw on within days of a natural disaster. And then we have parametric insurance as the fourth layer with the Caribbean Catastrophe Reinsurance Facility. And the fifth layer, which we are very proud of, we became the first small island country in the world to independently sponsor a catastrophe bond with the assistance of the World Bank, the technical assistance of the World Bank. And that is an instrument, a capital market instrument that pays out in the event of a natural disaster. And it is based on observable parameters. And I can get more into the details of that product. But that multi-layered strategy gives us diverse sources of funding and provides resources in layers to help Jamaica recover from the impact of a natural disaster. And in fact, our policy is geared towards what we call the 3 R's, to not only to respond, to recover, and to rebuild. And that is the approach that we have taken.
Thank you. Minister.